My name is Lisa Phillips, and I want to end violence against women and girls. And the reason I've just come in, and I'll probably sweep out again, is, as a lot of you know, this is the 16 days of activism. And let me tell you, I'm finding it exhausting. Because I said to my team, during this 16 days of activism, I want to do as much as possible. And they are holding me to that. So I only got back at 10 o'clock last night from Loy Tokitok to watch an alternative rites of passage for FGM. But getting out there and seeing that has really driven me on. So when I do speeches like this, I always look up on Google, what are the statistics that I can use in this speech? What are the striking things that I can say? You probably know them all already, but the ones that I found were in Africa, a girl is cut every 10 seconds. In the next 10 years, 30 million girls in Africa could be cut. In Kenya, 1 in every 3 girls between ages 9 and 16 are cut. 40,000 Kenyan women experience sexual or physical violence. 16,500 Kenyan women are raped in Kenya every year. And according to the Gender Violence Recovery Centre in Nairobi Women's Hospital, they have 18 cases of sexual violence a day. So these are pretty shocking statistics for me, especially as I think as donors and as women, we know what works. We know how to tackle this, and we know that you have to get the community engaged. There has to be systems in place for women to report. Women have to feel secure. There has to be security for them. We know that they have to be encouraged to report violence, that's very difficult for them. We know that they have to have access to justice as well, and that the justice has to be seen to be done and be done for them. There has to be good survivor care for them, and there has to be role models and champions so that they speak out. The kind of ceremony I saw yesterday, the alternative rites of passage, 416 girls there were not cut, and the parents and the elders, they all pledged that they would not pressurise them to be cut. And we did everything that usually happens, except the cut at the end, and it was a really brilliant ceremony, which I've tweeted some pictures from. We know as well that we have to keep girls in school. That works. That women have to have voice and choice over the number of babies that they have, and that our programs must promote gender equality. And like many donors, DFID is doing its part. We have a massive girls' education program. We have a research program that looks at adolescent girls and how they can tackle gender-based violence themselves. We're one of the only donors that is putting £35 million globally into tackling FGM. But all of these things don't seem to add up to what we'd hoped it would be. And I kind of think it's to do with gender equality, isn't it? It's the way that women are viewed in societies, and not just African societies, all around the world. And so that's why I've said to my team in these 16 days, get me out there. So I went with Lima Kilima yesterday to Loy Tokitok. We had the Girls' Summit, as Sid said, in London, where the Prime Minister brought together all the movers and shakers in FGM and early child marriage. We did the same thing here. We replicated that in Nairobi. We had our own Girls' Summit. And every time I go on a visit, I ask the governors what their stance is on FGM. And, a few of them say to me, well, it's a bit of a political statement to make, so I worry about my votes. But actually, I know several governors that have said to me, I've got daughters and I'm not going to cut them. But I don't actually want to speak out about it. So I think, for me, Africa, Kenya, we're getting there, but we need all these things to add up a bit more. So I think about what I can contribute to this agenda. I work in this area, but what can I do personally? It's easy for me to just say, well, I'm the head of DFID and we fund all these programs. But actually, over the years that I've worked, I've tried to push the barriers for women everywhere. So I am the 13th head of DFID Kenya, and I'm the first woman. I've worked for DFID for a long time, longer than I want to admit, but I was the first woman to say, so that I can bring up my son, can I work full-time and can I work 2 days a week from home? And it was agreed, and I was the first flexi worker in DFID, and now loads of people do it. I always mentor other women. I always look for networks that I can join, just because we know the evidence says if women join up and have a network, they feel supported, that means that they can grow. Between you and me, my first overseas posting, I was the officer and my now ex-husband was the trailing spouse, and I was the first woman to do that with DFID. I've since got rid of him, but so for me it's about us women breaking those glass ceilings. What can we do in our own personal life and in our professional life to push those barriers? So that would be my challenge to you. What are you doing? You are the leaders in your communities. You are the leaders in your organisations. What is your contribution? Thank you.